Hello again and welcome back everybody to another edition of the Rural Report. I am your Rural 2IC and we're going to continue another video into our mini series of It Takes a Village. Now, if you don't know what I'm talking about, there's no cause for alarm. You don't have to watch these videos in any particular order to get hopefully some substance out of it. But at the end, somewhere over here, I'll put the cards that you can go watch the series in its entirety. But with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into this one because I'm going to try and keep it as short as I can. But this is going to be one of those probably more popular and maybe, controversial ones. But we're going to talk about medical. Okay, now for this is going to be probably a top interest for a lot of people. Uh, this is one of those ones when you start talking about survival, everybody mentions food, water, shelter, medical, right? All right, so real quick, let's stop and do a define of the role. So for me, my definition is going to basically be anyone who is going to provide some form of healthcare. Now, this includes a lot. So you're talking about anybody that's in emergency medicine, surgical, a regular doctor, family doctor, things like that. This also includes the ones like dental, eye care, and the one that I think people often forget, mental health. Okay. Now, that's kind of one layer, but there's also more layers to medical that I do want to highlight. So that's people that is nurses, people that provide triage, any sort of medical assistance, first responders, first aid professionals, things like that. Okay. So there's a lot of people that can be involved with medical. And depending on how big your group is, you don't have to have a brain surgeon as the only doctor, okay? So when you kind of get into this, you have to make sure that you have a lot of this kind of covered. And so there's a lot when it comes into healthcare, and it's a lot for just a single person. The more that people can do. So I will take the time right now to say that uh, that very initial layer, that first step, as many people as possible, however big your group is, they need to have at least some sort of basic first aid, first responder knowledge. Okay. You don't know when some type of crisis is going to happen. We're human. We are a walking boo boo, right? So it's going to be those little things that's going to end up taking us out. It's going to be some sort of splinter, or you are working with your hands and you didn't want to put gloves on, right? And suddenly that blister ruptures, gets infected, and there you go. So you have all sorts of different medical things that can happen. And a lot of times it's not a jack of all trades. That's why you have a dentist that focuses on teeth. You have an eye doctor that focuses on your vision. There's a lot. And that's why, especially, you go to your doctor, and how many of us, me included, they go, hey, you've got this going on. I'm going to go send you to a specialist. Okay. There's different levels to all this. So let's go in and kind of break this down a little bit, because out of everything that I've kind of went on, I've listed over 10 different types of medical kind of professionals just in that little list. Remember the golden rule for prepping, it seems, is two is one and one is none. So as many people as possible to be trained is going to be good, because a family doctor may get you out of some trouble, but he may not know what to do with an abscess tooth, or if there's something wrong with your eyeball or something like that. So the people in this group or this category, however you want to look at it, should have extensive knowledge. Okay, if they're going to be up here and they're going to be in charge with the healthcare of your group, your tribe, your mag, whatever, then they need to have extensive knowledge. Now, again, depending on the size of your group, it would be ideal to have more than one person. Again, you want to want as many people as possible to have some sort of medical. Uh, a child can fall down. Some of the elderly can something can happen, and you don't want your doctor or whoever your one healthcare person to be across the property. Somebody's not going to run all the way out there, get them. They got to get all the way back. Then it's a lot of time, and maybe that person doesn't have that time. Uh, so when you're doing this, your main medical person needs help. And even if you have a very, very small group, this is one of those ones that we talked about in another video where we did, the basic caregiver. If you have somebody that can just look after or change bandages, take a temperature, things like that, they can step in as kind of like a nurse, if you will. I'm not trying to take away anything from the nurses, but they can step in that role even for a temporary point of, just at least in a temporary situation. Let's put it that way. Now, it goes without saying, okay, this group is basically one of the most critical because it's going to mean life or death for the people of your group. Um, Anything from taking out bullets or any sort of mass casualty sort of event or whatever, uh, everything's going to kind of depend on them, their skill level, their knowledge, and everything. So you need to make sure that they have it down now to have it where they can kind of know where the level of care goes. So you don't need them to have one medical person and nobody else knows medical, and there's somebody that requires real around the clock care, something really bad happened, and then somebody gets a little bit of a cough, and then the next thing you know, 50% of your group is now taken out by the cold. Uh, so it's good to have people that also know medical in the sense of medicine, whether that is man-made or whether that is natural medicine. Uh, it's going to be one of those ones, though, that the more that somebody can know herbal and naturalized medicine, because probably I want to guess 99.9, if not 100% of everybody that watches this video does not know how to, uh, you know, remake that pill if those run out. So you're going to have, depending on again how long the situation lasts. If we're talking a really bad balloon goes up 5 year long term situation, you're not going to run down to CVS or Walgreens or whatever your local pharmacy is and grab another script, right? So you should consider to have a bunch of people also trained in medicine and to be able to know, what they can do, symptoms, what they can give, what can help and alleviate, and things like that. So, and you at least want to make sure that they're as proficient as possible. Now, when we're talking about a long term SHTF situation, anything from a cut, a scrape, a splinter, it can all lead to infection, which then turns into bad news. Okay. The strength of your group, it's going to lie basically hand in hand with its level of health. If people are not physically capable, if they're not healthy, then all the other roles that we have talked about in this series don't really matter. And if the health is bad, it's all just going to snowball, and it's going to just, it's going to lead to a bad case for it. So I do want to kind of bring it a little bit back and focus a little bit on mental health. Now, if you happen to have that kind of old west style shootout that certain people watch, the Hollywood things or whatever, bullets ripping through flesh and blood going flying on the walls as bodies hit the floor is probably not the same as Hollywood when you're standing just feet away from it. Okay. So watching a loved one or a good friend or somebody take that round, or watch a limb leave their body or something along those lines, uh, that's that goes really hard on you mentally. And so it's one of those ones that everybody needs to be as mentally healthy as possible. It's going to be a very, very tough thing if SHTF actually goes on like what a lot of people want to think that it is. And so when you start getting into mental health, It goes everything from what you see to what you hear. And that's first person as well as second person. Anything from hard times hitting, rumors spreading, lies, anything along those lines. You can really cut into morale. You can get it to where people just mentally give up, and the mental health is kind of one of the ones that it doesn't matter whether it's young or old, what the skin color is. It doesn't matter if it's the biggest, toughest, most tactically skilled guy in your squad. They still have mental health. And having somebody in your mag or tribe, unit, whatever, that understands the signs and the symptoms to where maybe they can reach out and help before it gets too far and it starts to become basically dangerous. So, in the interest of trying to keep this video short, let me wrap up with some final thoughts because we can go on about medical for a long time. But again, for those of you that know me, you know that all I'm trying to do is get the ball rolling. For those of you that are new here, welcome. The purpose of my videos is not to spoon feed you and tell you this is what you do A, B, and C. I'm giving you ideas. I want you to think about it and apply it to your life. Take what you have, your experiences, your backgrounds, your knowledge, and figure out a way to mold what I'm talking about to make it work for you. If you coming up clueless and you're going, Rural, I don't know anything about medical. Well, then now you have a hole to fill, and that's where you need to figure out, how am I going to fill that hole? So, let's go into the final thoughts here. So, well, yes, medical is one of the basically the first things that people think about when it comes to SHTF. I don't know if people really take it as serious as it needs to be. This is not just about having a bunch of supplies, and it's not really even about the amount of knowledge or anything that goes into this. This is might be one of the only ones that could understand it would be maybe somebody that's actually been into a conflict zone as a medic, where you have screams and all sorts of sounds that you're not normally hearing. You may be out in the field with no modern equipment or anything. I'm sure a lot of us have seen those documentaries of World War I or whatever, and maybe even going back and watching some of the ones of like the Civil War. You took a round in the shoulder or the leg, you're out in the field. There's no way of getting you back to anywhere that's quote unquote modern. So off comes the limb. That was standard, and it may very well come back to that. So this is me telling you the only thing, if you're going to take anything away from this, you need to be your own first responder. Okay. Every person in your group needs to take that and run with it. That each individual needs to be responsible for themselves, and then they need to have the knowledge and skill to be able to help anybody else in the tribe, not perform major surgery. We're not trying to do a triple bypass heart surgery or something like that, but somebody that can stop the bleed, somebody that can help somebody that's choking, somebody that can do CPR, things like that. Basic first responder sort of training, because again, you're going to have it to where something's going to happen and that person is going to be the closest one. And we live in a society nowadays, we all see it, we all have social media, to where something goes wrong, and what's the first thing that everybody does is they freeze and take out their cell phone. Nobody seems to run in to help, nobody seems to call for help. Everybody is just standing there watching whatever's going on. And it gets to me. I don't understand why people do that. No, I guess nobody has ever taken and putting themselves in the shoe of whoever that's going on, and so I guess it's more important to get 10,000 clicks in the next 24 hours by putting on the video that they're recording. So uh, let's go ahead and wrap it up. So, when you're doing this, I guess when it comes down to it, gather the supplies that you need, get the training, get the skill, get the knowledge. Don't just read a book, actually go out and try and find a training class. Get hands on training from somebody that is reputable, that knows what they're talking about. buy you a kit, go through that kit, use that kit. Don't just throw it up there and let it collect dust. Take things out, put things in, build it to where it fits around your need. There is absolutely zero mass produced kit on the market that is 100%. Okay. If this person has an insulin deficiency and this person has an inhaler, there's no kit that you can go to Walmart and they're going to have insulin and an inhaler in it to make it to where it's a one size fits all. You're going to have to take things out. You're like, all right, I'm not going to need as many as these, and that gives me a little bit of room that I can put this into. So make sure the kit works for you and the people that is around you. So that's what I've got for you guys today. I hope that you got a little bit of something out of it. I hope you got something that you can take away. Again, this is just to get the ball rolling. We can go on for hours about this, but we're not going to. So I hope you guys have an amazing day. I hope you have a blessed day. I want you to stay tuned because there's definitely more information to come. And with that, I want to remind you to remain united because we're all prepping in this together.